Space weather! Looking at the sun at 171 angstroms. Sunspot 2728 degrades to the point where it's no longer a sunspot. And another giant coronal hole begins to rotate in. Better views at some different wavelengths. Check out the plasma activity situation in 304 angstroms. Nothing too fancy. Let's look at 193 angstroms. Awaiting the magnetic connection for that coronal hole. I think it's going to be violent when it does connect. And I think there's interference going on with the magnetic fields of this now active region, former sunspot. Could be having a masking or blocking or delaying effect on the magnetic connection of that coronal hole. And here's the reason why we think so. You can see there is a lot of magnetic interaction here, and the sun's magnetic fields are currently quite out of phase. You can see these very dense set of lines here, and you can see this is like a three-dimensional canyon here. So expecting the magnetic connection from that coronal hole in the next 6 hours. Let's look at the cosmic ray situation in Mexico. Here we are over the last 10 days. We see a marked increase. And in fact, in the last few hours, actually, quite a big spike there. As expected with the KP index as low as it is, there's a bit of an oppositional alignment going on right now. Mercury's about to rotate into opposition, while Jupiter's on the opposite side of the sun. There you see that. Turns out the comet we saw yesterday on the C3 and the C2 didn't make it. And here it is at the end of its kamikaze mission. See ya. And there's Mercury rotating into the oppositional spot. We've had an earthquake swarm in Iran-Iraq border region. It was 6.3 last night. And the shocks continue there. We'll go back 8 hours. Let's go back 9 hours. Ooh, Taiwan gets a 5.7. Pacific Antarctic Ridge gets a 5.3. Another very far south earthquake close to Antarctica. Quite rare, normally, although lately, not so rare. Okay. Also a 4.9 in Iran, a 5.0 in Iran. That's probably the same quake. But that 4.9 is a different quake. Also 4.4 in Colombia, 4.7 in Colombia, 4.6 in Russia, 4.5 in Colombia. So, earthquake risk continues for everybody in warning zones. Please have a disaster plan for that. Let's move on to the U.S. Doppler radar. Looks like it's still snowing in the north central states. And a strong series of thunderstorms across Florida. Let's take a look at windy.com's fantastic free application, which you can download for yourself at windy.com. Oh, check it out. Got a bizarre line of lightning stretching from Florida all the way to Mexico. Check it out. Pretty freaky. And let's look at CO2 concentration. Not to be confused with the GOES channel 16 long wave infrared radiation map, this one actually shows you the concentration. And by the way, Mexico City's looking pretty polluted. Maybe not as polluted as New Jersey. And while we're on the app, let's head to wind just so we can see the pressure systems. You can see a low pressure here. There's a low out, a dueling low out here. Nothing too exciting. Let's look at lightningmaps.org, where you can just simply go to a website and get real-time lightning. Check it out. Next time you get a thunderstorm in your area, head to lightningmaps.org. This app is fascinating, and it's got tons of settings. Check it out. It is fantastic. There's that crazy lightning storm going on. Quite interesting. Let's look at some other instruments here. Here's the NASA GOES water vapor. And there's your line of water connecting all that lightning. No surprise. Here's your cold mass of air from the jet stream, which is pushing up to the northeast, causing some serious mixing with that moist air. That's some moisture coming out of Texas, creating the headwaters for an atmospheric river. An atmospheric river. And if you don't like this map, a little drawing for you. All right, moving on. Head to Solar Ham, check out the active regions, and Sunspot 2728 is gone. No umbra. Here's a synoptic map. So we've got a coronal hole rotating in. It's going to be several days for that coronal hole wind stream to arrive. We're back to 0 sunspots. We're awaiting the magnetic connection between that coronal hole and the Earth. So we're looking for a phi angle signal of somewhere around 150 to 150 to 200 degrees. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks, subscribers. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Please share the videos on your social media. Help us to get to 1,000 subscribers. Keep on keeping on. And remember, when you're developing an earthquake plan, don't drink. And if you drink, get an earthquake plan anyway.